If you're here for a summary of Deadbeat by Jim Butcher, Dresden Files, book number 7, you are in the right place, and I'm glad you're here. My suspicion is that you are here because you are eagerly awaiting 12 months, like I am. Release date is January 20th, 2026, and you may not remember all the events that occurred in these books because there are a lot. Unless you planned accordingly and you have reread all 17 books before this next one comes out, you may be in a tight spot, and you may need a quick refresher on all the events that occurred in Deadbeat or previous books. I'm glad you made your way to this video. I have summary videos of all these books so far. I crank out a video every time I read one of these books, and it's so fun for me because I don't want to forget anything before we get to 12 months because there's so many events that I just know Jim Butcher is going to bring full circle. We're going to be hearing about them, and they are going to resurface in 12 months. That I feel confident about. If you haven't done so already, I hope you consider subscribing to my channel. I got a ton of Dresden Files content on there for you, including summary videos, including spoiler-free and spoiler videos. So if you have any interest in those, go check out my channel. Don't forget to hit subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into the events that occurred in Deadbeat by Jim Butcher. Almost a year has passed since Harry, Murphy, and Kincaid took down Mavra and the Black Court vampires, and since Harry solved Arturo's case at the adult film set. Harry is struggling to keep his composure and patience as he returns home from work and sees that his home is a complete wreck. He's frustrated that Thomas didn't feed Mouse or Mister, and that he didn't bother to clean up after himself or go to the store for groceries like he said he would. A woman emerges from Harry's bedroom. Thomas was clearly feeding off of her. Angie says that Thomas is in the shower, and she assumes that Harry and Thomas are romantically involved. She leaves before Harry can correct her. When Thomas emerges, Harry expresses his frustration, and Thomas tells Harry that he got fired again. Thomas is not adjusting to life as a normal human very well, and he keeps getting fired due to coworkers who cannot control their lust for him. Harry tells Thomas that Murphy is coming over. Thomas tells him to ask her out already. She will say yes. Harry argues that it's not like that. They are just friends. Thomas doesn't buy it. Thomas leaves, and Harry takes Mouse on a walk. As he returns home, Murphy arrives and asks Harry to water her plants as she is going on a vacation for a few days. She's going to Hawaii with Kincaid. Harry feels jealous and worried for her safety. Harry receives a letter that immediately alarms him. It's an envelope from Mavra that contains pictures of Murphy killing one of her Renfields. The writing indicates that she demands a meeting with Harry that night. A lock of Murphy's hair is taped to the letter. Harry knows that if he doesn't go to Mavra's meeting, Murphy is as good as dead. Mavra requested the meeting to be held at Harry's grave. Harry takes Mouse to go to Graceland Cemetery. When Mavra appears, she tells Harry to find the word of Kemmler. Mavra explains that it's a trail to power. Mavra gives him 3 midnights to find the word of Kemmler. 3 nights from now is Halloween and Harry's birthday. If Harry fails, Mavra will send the photos of Murphy to the authorities, and she will be prosecuted for murder. Harry goes to his lab to consult Bob. Bob says that he knew Kemmler. Kemmler owned Bob for 40 years before Justin took him from the smoldering remains of Kemmler's lab, just like Harry pulled Bob out of the smoldering ruins of Justin's lab. Bob says that Kemmler is evil and was largely responsible for World War I, that the White Council killed him several times, but he kept coming back. Bob says that he's locked his memories of Kemmler away. Harry understands that bringing those memories back will be painful, but Bob says that it's so much more than that. Bob asks Harry if he can come out of the skull for this conversation. Harry grants him his request. Bob's lights dance around as Harry commands him to remember his time with Kemmler. Bob tried to warn Harry against this, but Harry wants the information. Bob changes in attitude and starts talking about death and how it's part of Harry, and that death's embrace is pleasant. Bob orders Harry to open his mouth. When he does, a speck of Bob's light touches Harry's tongue, and he floods with coldness. Harry falls to the floor and spits out the speck. Bob's light dances around as he cackles at how long he's been wanting to do that. Harry orders Bob back into the skull. Bob has no recollection of what just happened. Harry explains that it got real cold in here, and Bob apologizes, saying that he tried to warn Harry. Harry orders Bob to lock away those memories again, and that no one can ever command him to restore those memories. Bob thanks him, but says that if he does that, he won't be much help to Harry with Kemmler. Harry understands, but commands it anyway. Bob tells Harry that Kemmler wrote 3 books that he self-published, but there may be a 4th in existence. Kemmler wrote these for his followers, the dark magic users. Harry tells Bob that he's going to the morgue. Harry brings a case of Max ale to the security guard, Phil, who allows him passage. When Harry arrives, he finds Butters practicing his polka music in his polka suit. Harry's arrival startles Butters, and he quickly recovers and is excited to share something interesting that he discovered with Harry. Butters was comparing old and new x-rays of Harry and noticed that over time, Harry's body had completely healed with no trace of any injury. There's no trace of his fractured bones from previous injuries, and this leads Butters to believe that over time, Harry's hand will heal completely with no trace of any damage. This is also why Butters believes that wizards live forever, because they repair their bodies. Harry gets emotional thinking about how nice it would be to have full functionality of his hand restored. Harry asks Butters about any recent deaths in the area that were gruesome. Butters mentions a pedestrian who was hit by a car. Just then, the security guard, Phil, appears, throat slit. He is clearly not alive, but he is there with 3 other men. One of the men tries to take Butters, but Harry intervenes. The villain introduces himself as Gravane and says that he needs Butters. Harry notices that Gravane has a book in hand and that he is thumping it against his thigh. Harry takes a mental note of the title. Harry activates his shield bracelet and pulls out a gun, enabling him and Butters to flee. Harry orders Butters to lock Gravane, Phil, and the other men in the room that they just vacated. They run towards Butters' car. Before they hop in, Harry notices that the men killed Butters' car. They are forced to take the beetle. Just as they are climbing in, an accomplice of Gravane appears. He arrives in an old-school vehicle and steps out with a shotgun. The man is old, has saggy skin, with lots of liver spots. Harry uses his shield to protect him and Butters as liver spots shoots at them. They take off in the beetle, but now dead Phil is chasing them on foot with the other men. Phil keeps pace with the beetle and he's able to climb up on the back of the vehicle. Harry deals with him while Butters takes the wheel. They eventually lose the bad guys and Harry parks at a well-lit gas station to explain some things to Butters, who wants to know what he's up against. Harry gets coffee for them both and explains to Butters that monsters are real. Butters resists this information initially as he doesn't want to believe it. But after Harry explains, Butters slowly accepts the truth of what's out there. Harry explains that necromancers control the corpses, or zombies, by creating a heartbeat because the corpses are used to having a heartbeat, which is why Gravane was thumping a book against his thigh during their encounter, to create a heartbeat and control dead Phil and the others. Harry takes Butters to his apartment. He leaves a note for Thomas explaining who Butters is and leaves Mouse there to protect Butters. Harry goes to box-ordered books to figure out why Gravane had a copy of Die Lied der Erlking. Box-ordered books used to be a speakeasy. Harry goes to the back room where all of the valuable items are. While browsing, a woman exits the little office. Harry is startled and readies his shield and gun. The woman believes Harry is robbing the store. Once Harry regains his composure, the woman introduces herself as Sheila. She was doing end-of-month inventory and started working there 5 months ago. She tells Harry where to find the book he is looking for. Harry uses a check to purchase the book, which costs half a month's rent. Harry asks Bach who purchased the other copy of the book, and he says an older gentleman with long hair, saggy skin, and lots of liver spots. Before Harry leaves, he sees 2 figures standing outside the store. Harry braces himself and exits the shop. He radiates a formidable presence as he demands to know what the 2 figures want. The taller male figure says they want the book. He says his name is Cowl. The shorter female figure asks more politely and says that the book is dangerous and needs to be destroyed. Cowl calls her Kamori. Harry realizes that he's seen them both before, at Bianca's masquerade years ago. When Harry refuses to hand over the book, Cowl throws Harry back with incredible amount of power, more than Harry has ever experienced. Harry uses his shield twice to protect himself from the blows. Harry retaliates by using magic to topple a car over and on top of Cowl. This completely drains Harry and he slumps over in exhaustion. Cowl emerges from the car ready to attack again, but luckily Billy and the werewolf show up to assist Harry. The wolves drive off Cowl and Kamori. Billy and Georgia drive Harry to Georgia's parents' house. Harry passes out on the way there and wakes up when the car is already parked in the garage. As Harry makes his way to the house, he overhears Billy and Georgia talking. They are very worried about him and notice that he's been different lately, more withdrawn. Georgia encourages Billy to listen to Harry, and if Harry says that he doesn't need their help, that they should respect his wishes. Harry enters and confides in Billy and Georgia. Harry realized last year that his magic is being augmented by a demonic energy called Hellfire. Harry worries that Lashiel might be influencing him in ways that he cannot detect, even though he took proper precautions by burying the coin under concrete in his lab. Georgia and Billy take Harry back to his beetle, only to find that the beetle has been trashed. Georgia offers to get the beetle to Mike's for repair and wants to lend Harry her SUV. Harry drives Georgia's SUV to visit Mortimer Linquist's house. Mort is reluctant to help Harry when Harry asks Mort to contact the dead and see how many necromancers they are dealing with. Mort refuses to help Harry until Harry says that his friend will get hurt if he doesn't figure out how to deal with the necromancers. Mort asks which friend it is. As soon as Harry says Murphy, Mort agrees to help and contact the dead immediately. Mort says that he knew and knows Murphy's dad. He spread a map out on the table and summons the dead. Harry feels the presence of several dead folk, making him feel claustrophobic. The dead create bright red circles around 6 areas on the map. Now Harry knows that he's dealing with 6 necromancers like Gravane and Cowell. Harry goes home and thanks Thomas for watching over Butters. Harry starts reading the book and falls asleep and has a dream about his father. His father says that he is real and that he wasn't able to contact Harry until the others crossed over the line. His father says to beware of the Jabberwock. Malcolm says that Harry knows what it is and what it wants. His father says that he still has much ahead of him and that he wishes that he could have stuck around in life longer to be there with Harry. Harry goes on a run with Thomas at the beach. Thomas and Harry race to the SUV and make a bet. If Harry wins, Thomas has to confide in him about what's going on with him. When Harry wins, Thomas explains just how miserable the thirst is for him to fight off. Harry begins his investigation on the spots marked on the map by the ghosts that Mort summoned. Harry doesn't find anything at the first spot except a cold spot when he stretches out his senses. Next, he checks out a museum where he discovers the murder of Dr. Charles Bartleby. He listens to the 2 cops converse and he hears about the doctor's 2 assistants, Alicia and Lee Zion, who are now both MIA. Harry goes down to the office where the murder occurred. He sees blood everywhere. One of the cops he overheard earlier comes in and helps Harry. When Harry asks why he's helping, the cop says that he observed Murphy's father kill something supernatural many years ago. The cop, Rollins, believes that Harry is doing good work. Harry takes Butters to the Forensic Institute, aka the morgue, to look at Dr. Bartleby's corpse. The body had 30 to 40 stab wounds and someone collected his nose, ears, eyelids, and lips in a bag and sliced off his quadriceps. The body is missing the stomach and the intestines. Harry wonders if the killer was using anthropomancy to attempt to determine the future or gain information by reading human entrails. Harry leaves the room and goes to the waiting room while Butters assesses the body of Eduardo Mendoza. Harry observes Alicia and Lee Zion enter, Bartleby's missing assistants. Alicia goes to Casey, the security guard, and says that she is there to collect Bartleby's possessions that were left for her in his will. As Casey goes to consult with Dr. Brioche, the director, Harry overhears Alicia and Lee's conversation. Lee refers to Alicia as "my lord," and Harry identifies Lee as a ghoul. Casey returns and tells Alicia that she will have to wait to speak with Dr. Brioche directly. Harry fakes a limp and returns to the examination room with Butters. Harry looks at Eduardo's corpse and is surprised to notice that he recognizes him as Bony Tony Mendoza, one of Marcone's men. Harry knows Tony's history as a sword swallower and prompts Butters to check his back teeth. When he does, he finds a string attached to a condom containing a jump drive. Harry takes Butters to Billy and Georgia so he can see what's on the drive. While Butters checks the drive, Harry checks his voice messages. He has one from Murphy saying that she made it to Hawaii and thanks him for watering her plants. He also has a message from Mike saying that the beetle is ready. And finally, he has a message from Sheila, who he met at Box Bookstore. She says that weird things are happening and asks him to come to the store. She sounds frightened. Butters returns to say that there is nothing on the drive except a string of 16 numbers. They don't know what they mean. Harry asks Billy to take Butters back to his place while he goes to the bookstore to talk to Sheila. When Harry arrives, Bach tells Harry that he doesn't want him around the store anymore, as trouble seems to follow Harry. Bach likes Harry, but he has a business to run and a family to support. Harry has a conversation with Sheila, who seems convinced that someone or something was in the shop with her last night, even though she couldn't see it. Sheila asks Harry out on a date, and Harry agrees. Right after Sheila writes her number on Harry's hand, Harry sees that Alicia and Lee Zion are talking to Bach, demanding to know who purchased the last copy of the book. Bach protects Harry by refusing to tell them. Harry uses his staff to blast Lee Zion through the door and through the building across the street. Alicia demands that Harry give her the book and tell her where the word is. Harry pretends that he knows where the word is, but refuses to give her either. Alicia fills the room with darkness, and Harry realizes that this is the type of black magic that he's never seen or felt before. As Alicia's power grows, Harry realizes that she is breaking into his thoughts. He creates a barrier to protect his mind, and he has to use hellfire to reinforce his barrier. Lee Zion returns and Alicia sends him after Harry when Harry runs. Lee hits Harry in the right calf with a steel throwing star, a shuriken. Suddenly, Harry becomes confused and doesn't remember where he was going or what he was doing. Alicia successfully broke into his mind and found that Harry doesn't know where the word is and that he only has the numbers. Alicia gives Lee the order to kill Harry, but luckily, Guard shows up, an employee of Marcone's. She buries an axe into Lee and is able to get Harry into the car where Hendrix is driving and Marcone is sitting in the back next to Harry. Marcone talks to Harry about Tony Mendoza, who had acquired loot from World War II that he was selling independent of Marcone's enterprise. Mendoza tells Harry that one of his men was in a gunfight with a rival of his, and his man was wounded. The man survived but has no recollection of what happened. Marcone wants Harry to talk to the EMTs who picked the guy up and transported him to the hospital. Marcone takes Harry to the hospital for treatment for his wounded leg, but more importantly, to get Harry to talk to the EMTs who responded to Marcone's man. Harry gets the shuriken removed from his leg, and the doctor allows him to keep it. Lamar, the EMT, comes to visit Harry. He tells him that the victim died from the gunshot wounds and that he and Simmons were too late to save him. But then a woman appears wearing a dark hooded cloak. Lamar couldn't see her face, but she leans over the victim and brings him back to life. The victim was in massive pain but pulled through and lived, as if he was not allowed to die. Lamar comments on the cold energy and feeling of wrongness. Harry believes the savior to be Komori, who used dark magic to save his life. Harry gets a cab to pick up his beetle. He goes back home and has a conversation with Thomas, who calls Butters a coward. He encourages Harry to ditch Butters as to not endanger Harry any further. Harry and Thomas try to figure out what the numbers mean. Harry tasks Thomas with trying to figure it out while he looks into why the heirs want to know about the Arrow King. The Arrow King is a high she, a wild fae. Harry read that he's a hunter spirit and one who can call up and lead the wild hunt. Harry plans to find out more about the Arrow King by speaking with his godmother. Thomas loads Butters' polka suit into the beetle and Harry takes Mouse with him. Harry goes to a secluded spot and tries to summon his godmother Leah, but Queen Mab arrives instead, saying that Leah has been restrained and will remain uncomfortable and restrained until she acknowledges and respects Mab as the Winter Queen. Mab agrees to help Harry to the same extent as Leah would. Harry explains to Mab that the book was found by a thief who tried to sell it to Gravane. Mab says that Gravane was Kemmler's first student. Harry comes to realize that there is information in the book that will get the Arrow King's attention, which is why it's highly sought after by the heirs. Harry asks Mab to tell her what it is, but Mab won't freely give the information. She wants Harry to replace her current knight, who she is displeased with, and in return she will answer all of his questions and forgive his debt. Harry declines her offer. Mab still explains anyway and tells Harry that Kemmler was a madman, but brilliant. He discovered how to bind his will to dead flesh and to shades, ghosts, and to devour them to feed his own power. Harry discovers that the heirs want to call up the ancient spirits to devour them in order to grow their power. Mab says that Kemmler tried to do this, but the White Council shut him down before he succeeded. Mab disappears and Harry and Mouse go home. Before they can get inside, they are attacked by zombies. Mouse attacks the leading zombie before it can reach Harry, and Mouse mauls the zombie's face, but injures his paw in the fight. Thomas opens the door behind Harry and shoots at the zombies with a shotgun before pulling Harry and Mouse inside. Even with the wards up, the zombies attack the apartment. The wards aren't as strong as the zombies are already dead, and the wards more so protect against living beings. Butters is terrified to leave, but Harry plans to get them all out of the apartment and into the beetle. To encourage Butters, Harry has to scream at him, "Polka will never die," and makes Butters repeat after him. But before he can attempt their escape, a window breaks and a zombie snatches Butters by the hair and hauls him out. Harry calls out to Gravane to bargain with him, the return of Butters in exchange for the numbers. Gravane agrees to Harry's terms and calls off the zombies. Harry, Thomas, Butters, Mouse, and Liverspots go to the beetle. Harry agreed to give Liverspots the numbers in the beetle, and once he's a safe distance away, he'll drop Liverspots off with the numbers so he can reconnect with Gravane. Before the transaction can occur, an army of ghosts appear to fight them. Corpse Taker, in the body of Alicia, and Lee Zion are leading the charge. Liverspots gets angry and declares that they've been betrayed. Gravane sends the order to kill Harry, Thomas, and Butters. Zombies and ghosts attack. Liverspots attacks Harry. Before Liverspots can hurt Harry, Thomas swings the beetle door into Liverspots, and Harry, Thomas, Butters, and Mouse are able to get into the beetle and outrun Gravane, Liverspots, the zombies, Alicia, Lee Zion, and the ghosts. Harry takes everyone to Murphy's, where they help themselves to pizza, roast beef sandwiches, cheese and crackers, beer, and tea. Butters redresses Harry's leg wound. Butters mistakes Harry and Thomas as a couple. Thomas tricks Harry into taking painkillers so that he can rest. Harry falls asleep in Murphy's bed and dreams of a beautiful woman with golden hair. Harry eventually recognizes her to be Lashiel. She can appear to Harry now because he used Hellfire. Lashiel makes Harry an offer. She offers her knowledge and experience as a way to assist him. Harry knows that the help this fallen angel is offering does not come without a price. He rejects her offer, and Lashiel is fascinated by Harry's response. When Harry wakes up, Thomas is cooking pancakes and Butters is walking Mouse. Harry shares his plans with Thomas. To prevent the heirs from achieving god status, he needs to remove the Arrow King. Harry plans to bring in the White Council and summon the Errol King himself. If Harry occupies the Errol King, he won't be available for the heirs to use. Harry no longer has the book, so he doesn't know how to summon the Errol King. Harry feels sure that one of the poems is an incantation to summon him. Thomas wants to go with him, but Harry says he can't because he's including the White Council, and the Council will recognize Thomas as being a White Court vampire. The whole city has a power outage. Harry believes that it was the doing of Cowell to create and inspire fear for the people. Harry tasks Thomas and Butters with research while Harry gets to work. Harry tells Thomas and Butters to use Bob for help. Harry goes to his office. He calls the White Council and gets the lead warden, Lucio, who says that the wardens will be dispatched, herself included, and will be in Chicago in 6 hours. Harry tries to contact Sheila, who has a photographic memory and has read the book before. He isn't able to get a hold of her. Billy shows up at Harry's office. Billy expresses concern for Harry. Billy says that Harry's been talking to himself and that he's scaring people. Billy says it's a good thing that Harry's a good guy. If he was a bad guy, he'd be really, really scary. Harry gets frustrated as he does not have time for this conversation. Billy flinches as if scared that Harry will try to hurt him. Harry is confused by his reaction. He warns Billy about what's ahead and tells him to warn people and that they will talk about his mental state when it's all over. Harry goes to Sheila's apartment where he finds her dressed up like a genie. Sheila demands to know why Harry needs the information he's asking her for, so he explains it to her and that the heirs want to call up the Errol King on Halloween, that night, to call up ancient spirits. They plan to bind and devour the spirits to give themselves supernatural power. Sheila recites the poems to Harry and Harry recognizes the one that he needs for the summoning. Sheila asks if there's anything else that she can do to help Harry. She suddenly approaches Harry and they kiss. Although they both want more, Harry stops as he recognizes that she does not know him. Harry leaves her apartment, and as he is walking down the stairwell, Komori appears out of nowhere, telling Harry that if he moves, she will kill him. Harry recognizes that Komori wants to talk. If she wanted to kill or hurt Harry, she would have done it already. Komori's face is concealed by a deep hood, so Harry can't see her face, but he suspects that she is someone from the White Council. They agree to a truce so that they can converse without fear of the other attacking. Komori wants Harry's book. Harry tells her that Corpse Taker took it and explains his theory that the Corpse Taker was in the doctor's body, but then hopped into Alicia, the doctor's assistant, before killing the doctor. Harry believes that Corpse Taker can hop bodies. Komori tells Harry to stay out of the way, remove himself from the fight. If he gets in the way, they will not hesitate to strike him down. Harry offers his own deal to offer Komori protection by the White Council in exchange for her helping him. Komori rejects Harry's offer. Harry discovers that Komori is trying to defeat death, that she uses dark magic to save lives and help people live forever. Harry goes to McAnally's to meet the wardens of the White Council. Harry first encounters Morgan, his warden before his probation was lifted. Harry sees that Morgan is beat up as if he just came from battle, and Harry is shocked by the young age of many of the wardens. One of the wardens creates a circle around them so that their conversation remains private. Harry is offered a warden's robe, and he is shocked as he did not expect to be offered a position as warden within the White Council. Harry discovers that the red vampires took several wardens as hostages. When the wardens attempted a rescue, they found that it was a lure. When the wardens tried to escape through the Never Never, the red vampires followed them through. Vampires are not allowed to travel through the Never Never. After everything, 38 wardens were killed in the attack. Harry is stunned as there are only 200 wardens around the world. Harry is told that outsiders were involved. Outsiders are servants of the Old Ones, an ancient race of demons who once ruled the mortal world. It is a law of magic. Thou shalt not open the outer gates. The wounded wardens were taken to a hospital, but the red vampires employed mortals to attack it with gas. Thousands of innocents died, as well as 143 wardens. The White Council was just about wiped out entirely. Captain Lucio pushes Harry to become a warden, but Harry initially refuses. Eventually, Lucio is able to convince Harry to join, and now Harry is responsible for protecting the Chicago area as regional commander of the White Council. Harry arrives back at Murphy's wearing his new warden's cloak. Harry tells Thomas, Butters, and Bob what happened. Harry asks Thomas to deliver a message to the White Council members telling them where to find the Kemmler disciples. Harry believes that they will be at the Native American Museum where the ancient artifacts will draw the ancient spirits. While the White Council deals with the disciples, Harry will summon and trap the Errol King. Thomas takes Murphy's motorcycle to deliver the message. Butters asks Bob a bunch of questions regarding the supernatural while Harry drinks his sugary mint tea and mentally prepares to summon the Errol King. Harry creates a barbed wire circle in Murphy's backyard and summons the Errol King. The Errol King answers and arrives within the circle. The Errol King recognizes Harry as the wizard who took down the Summer Lady, Aurora. The Errol King tells Harry that they are not foes, but he demands to be released. Harry refuses, and even though the Errol King thrashes against his circle, Harry is able to hold it until someone hits him in the back of the head, wrecking his concentration. The Errol King and his beasts, the Hunt, are now loose in Chicago, and Harry was the one to summon and unleash them. Cowell was the one who hit Harry in the back of the head, and now Harry's gun is pointed at his own head. Komori walks out of Murphy's house confirming that she found him. Harry is alarmed as he assumes that she's talking about Butters. Cowell leaves Harry alive and says he doesn't care whether the Errol King returns to kill him or if Harry joins the Wardens and gets killed in battle. Cowell seems confident that Harry will die either way. Cowell and Komori leave. Harry returns to the house and finds Butters and Mouse hiding in a closet. Harry realizes that Mouse led Butters to safety by hiding him away. Harry soon realizes that Bob is gone. Bob was the he that Komori was referring to. Now, Cowell will not need the word in order to enact the Dark Hollow because he has Bob, the spirit who helped Kemmler write it. Harry takes Butters and Mouse to Sheila's apartment. He wants to check on her as he fears for her safety. Cowell and Komori want to destroy every Errol King book, and if they found out that Sheila could recite it by memory, he feels sure that they would try to harm her. When they arrive, Harry tells Butters to stay in the car with Mouse. Harry gets to Sheila's door and confirms that she's okay. He kisses her and promises her that he will call her soon. Just as he is getting ready to leave, he hears Butters call out to him. Butters comes in with Mouse saying that the car died, and so he went looking for Harry. When Harry tries to introduce him to Sheila, Butters appears confused and asks who Harry is talking to. Suddenly, Harry recognizes who Sheila is. She is Lashiel. The apartment suddenly melts away. The apartment and Sheila were just a hallucination. Lashiel tells Harry that this was her way of trying to help him. She asks Harry to allow her to help, but Harry still refuses her. He takes control of his mind and banishes her by mentally putting her in handcuffs, in a cage, and then throwing a covering over the cage so she cannot be seen or heard. Harry explains to Butters what happened, and suddenly he has an epiphany. He knows what the numbers are and tells Butters that he wants him to help. Harry and Butters break into a Radio Shack to steal a GPS. Harry realizes that the numbers were coordinates, longitude and latitude, and that it was the perfect way to disguise the location from wizards, who don't work well with technology. Harry leads Butters to draw a circle around himself and use his blood to throw up a wall so that GPS can function without Harry's influence. The GPS leads them to the museum. Harry and Butters follow the coordinates to Sue's skull, the T-Rex, where Harry finds an envelope with a slender book inside, the Word of Kemmler. Harry hears something and tells Butters to run. Harry sees that Gravane and Liver Spots are there with zombies. Harry flips through each page in the book, not reading it, but exposing his eyes to it. Gravane and Liver Spots find Harry, and suddenly Harry is being attacked by a bunch of snakes. He finally recognizes Liver Spots to be Quintus Cassius, the snake boy Denarian whose legs he broke a while back. Quintus Cassius wants his revenge against Harry. Quintus cuffs Harry and restrains him and begins to torture him. Harry hopes that one of the Knights of the Cross will come to save him. He hopes Michael will appear. The Knights don't come. Harry has been beaten on the stomach with a chain, and Cassius is cutting his stomach open with a knife when Mouse suddenly comes charging at Cassius. Before Mouse can do much damage, Cassius casts a cobra to fight Mouse. Butters luckily finds his courage and attacks Cassius before Cassius can kill Harry. Butters puts up a decent fight, but he's no match for Cassius. Cassius breaks Butters' nose, but Butters persists. He bites Cassius in the leg. By this time, Mouse has recovered and has defeated the snake. Harry gives Mouse the order to kill Cassius. As Cassius dies, he screams, "Die alone," delivering his own death curse. Everything goes black for Harry. Harry has a dream where he meets Lashiel and the evil version of himself, his subconscious, the version of Harry that is darker. Subconscious Harry tries to convince Harry to release and free Lashiel and accept her offer to help. Harry rejects the idea until subconscious Harry mentions that Harry needs Lashiel to survive, and how many people will suffer if Harry dies. If Harry dies, he is no longer able to fight the heirs or help people later on down the road. Thousands will perish. This changes Harry's mind, and he unshackles Lashiel. Because Harry looked at the book, Lashiel can access it through his mind, and she translates it for Harry. Harry wakes up and sees Butters and Mouse. Lashiel helps Harry bury the pain to a manageable level. Harry asks Butters for help. He educates Butters on what he learned from Lashiel and explains the vortex that will be created and the plan that the heirs have to take the power. The tornado vortex will kill thousands in the surrounding area. Whoever stands at the eye of the tornado will receive all the power, but only those surrounded by necromantic energy can survive it. Butters realizes Harry's plan and asks if it will get him in trouble with the White Council, but Harry says the law of magic only applies to human corpses. His plan does not involve human corpses. Butters realizes that Harry needs a drummer to create the heartbeat. Harry sends Butters to retrieve his polka suit from the beetle. Harry makes his way to the ground floor of the museum and looks up at Sue, the skeleton of the T-Rex. Harry and Butters ride atop Sue towards a forming tornado. They see the wardens fighting zombies and protecting a group of children. Butters keeps the beat of his drum while Harry concentrates to direct Sue. Harry sees a car coming straight for the group. Harry has Sue tear the top of the car off to reveal Lee Zion. Sue kills him with little to no effort. Harry has Sue help drive back the zombies, enough for the wardens to retreat into a building with the children. Harry converses with Captain Lucio, who says that Sue is an abomination, but Harry convinces her of the necessity when he explains that they can only get close to the vortex when surrounded by necromantic energy. Suddenly, tribesmen, specters, appear to attack the wardens. Harry fights alongside the wardens. Harry sees that Butters is about to be attacked by 3 of them, but Butters surprises Harry by drawing a circle around himself and sending up a protective wall so he can continue the drumming. Lucio helps thwart an attack by a specter behind Harry, but Lucio is suddenly attacked and driven out of the building by Corpse Taker. Harry follows her out to try to help. Harry sees Lucio stab Corpse Taker, and Corpse Taker falls to the ground. Harry quickly realizes that Corpse Taker switched bodies with Lucio, and Harry doesn't hesitate to shoot the Corpse Taker in Lucio's body. The shot hits her in the head and kills her. Morgan sees this, assuming that Harry just killed Lucio, and accuses Harry of being a murderer and a traitor. Now that Corpse Taker is dead, the specters wander aimlessly since Corpse Taker isn't beating the drum. Morgan attacks Harry with intention to kill. Harry tries to explain to Morgan, but Morgan won't listen. He's still hell-bent on delivering justice and killing Harry. Harry weighs the options of surviving and killing Morgan, or letting Morgan kill him. He believes that Morgan has a chance to defeat Cowell and Gravane, so Harry accepts his own death and closes his eyes just as Morgan is about to strike. A gunshot is heard and Morgan goes down. Carlos Ramirez shot Morgan in the leg with the pistol in one hand and is supporting the new Lucio in the other. Lucio tells Morgan to stand down as Ramirez confirms that Harry was telling the truth. Ramirez overheard the conversation between Harry and Morgan and soul gazed with Lucio to discover that Harry was not lying. Lucio, now in Alicia's body, says that her wound is fatal and Morgan is now down for the count, so it's up to Ramirez and Harry to take down the final 2 heirs as well as Cowell's apprentice. Harry tells Butters to stay there and keep the drum going while he and Carlos Ramirez mount Sue. They ride toward the tornado and plan to attack the zombies from behind. Harry and Ramirez break through the zombies and confront Gravane. Ramirez is able to execute Gravane. Harry and Carlos head toward the swirling tornado. Harry approaches Cowell, who is about to devour the spirits. Bob catches sight of Harry and advises Cowell to kill Harry. Harry is dismayed to see that Bob is no longer Bob. Harry tries to speak to Bob, encouraging him to remember Harry. Bob winks at him. Harry tells Bob that he has his permission. Bob flows out of the skull and into the dinosaur, who comes charging straight for Komori. Harry knocks Cowell in the head with his staff, interrupting his devouring. The world goes dark. When Harry comes to, he asks Bob what happened, and Bob says that the interruption destroyed Cowell and that bits of him were still floating around. He said Sue was also destroyed. The Aerial King appears before Harry and expresses that he's pleased with Harry and therefore will leave him be, but it will not be so the next time they encounter one another. Harry grabs the book, The Word of Kemmler, before Harry goes home to sleep. Thomas says that Murphy's motorcycle crapped out on him, so by the time he arrived on campus, the whole ordeal was over. Harry goes to the graveyard, his grave in particular, to meet Mavra. He gives her the book and she gives him the photos of Murphy. Harry tells her that if she ever threatens Murphy again, he will kill her. Butters comes every day to tend to Harry's wounds. Murphy shows up to scold Harry for the damage to her place, but stops when she sees Harry's condition. Murphy also has a bruise on her neck and a cast on her arm. Harry does not explain what happened in Chicago during her absence, and Murphy doesn't explain what happened to her in Hawaii. Neither of them share the stories of what happened, but they agree that things got interesting. Morgan shows up to give Harry his first paycheck as a warden. Since Lucio is injured and still in a different body, Alicia's body, she was replaced by Morgan as head warden. Though Morgan still doesn't like Harry, he recognizes him as part of the council and expects him to work with the other regional commander in the States, based in California, Carlos Ramirez. Butters shows up with a gift for Harry. It's a guitar that Butters wants Harry to learn to help Harry gain mobility and dexterity in his hand. There's also a book included, Guitar for Total Idiots. It's too dark to read, but Harry uses magic to light his candles and uses fire magic for the first time in a long time. That's it. That's everything that occurred in Deadbeat, Dresden Files book number 7 by Jim Butcher. I hope this video was helpful. Hopefully it all made sense. If you are watching this video and haven't read this book before, I think there's still going to be some holes, but if you've already read Deadbeat, I think that the summary probably made sense. Let me know in the comments. Anyways, if you're still with me, thank you so much. I really appreciate your support. I hope you love the Dresden Files just as much as I do. And if you haven't done so already, I hope you consider subscribing to my channel because I got a lot of book related content on there, mostly regarding Dresden Files, but I do have other videos with other books. I'm a big fan of Brandon Sanderson. I love fantasy, but I do dip my toes in other genres, believe it or not. If you've watched this video, I hope you leave me a comment. Let me know if this video is helpful. Let me know what your favorite Dresden Files book is because I would love to know. I usually get Deadbeat as a top favorite, but every once in a while we get people who say they really like Proven Guilty or Changes. Changes comes up a lot. I think that's all I have for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you're reading something great. Let me know in the comments. I hope to catch you in another video, and until next time, I will catch you on the flip side.